Welcome to the Speak with People podcast, where we believe that healthy communication is the key to unlocking your leadership potential. We are the go-to resource for leaders looking to greatly improve their communication skills. Whether it's one-on-one interactions, team settings, public speaking, or your digital communication. By improving these skills, leaders can create stronger connections and drive positive change within their organization. Each and every episode, we sit down with leaders from various fields, just like you're grabbing a cup of coffee with them. We dive into real, practical conversations. Our goal is to help you transform your communication skills so you can lead more effectively, build stronger relationships, and make a lasting impact. So grab your favorite drink, settle in, and let's learn together. Well, how do you strike the perfect balance between helpful and annoying when texting with your team, your clients, or your colleagues? What is that balance? Well, hey, welcome back to the Speak with People podcast. This is a show dedicated to helping leaders communicate with clarity, connection, and impact. So glad that you are joining us. We're in week 3 of our Texting with People podcast series. And today we're diving into something I think we all wrestle with, but maybe sometimes we rarely talk about it. How much is too much when it comes to texting as a leader? Texting is one of the easiest ways to stay connected, but it can also backfire if we overdo it, if we send too much. And so if you missed the first 2 episodes of the series, head back, speakwithpeople.com/podcast. Make sure you catch up. Episode 2 was powerful with Caleb Paul. He taught us how to network with using texting. And so if you've been wanting to network with using texting, you gotta get that one. And in the first episode, we talked about how to use our emotional intelligence to make sure that we're texting in a way that is appropriate. And so maybe you've been in that situation where you've ever sent that follow-up text and immediately thought, oh man, was that necessary? Should I have sent that? Maybe you hesitated to reach out. Maybe they didn't respond. You don't know what to say. What I've found through the research is texting really does have a sweet spot. And that's what we're going to uncover today. We're going to dive into it. I think by the end of the episode, you'll know how to text just enough to build trust, to communicate effectively, and to maintain influence without becoming the person people avoid. So let's get started. I really think that the frequency of texting in your leadership matters. It matters. It is an easy way to show people that you care. Now, I've talked about the circle of influence a lot. I talked about it in episode 1. I used to call it the home team. And so now I'm calling it the circle of influence. It's actually in chapter 15 of my book, Speak with People, Not at Them, where I break this down. And the reality is that each of us, we do have circles of influence in our life and leadership. People who are influential to us, people who breathe life into us, people who help us succeed, people who we absolutely need. And people that we need to breathe life into, who we need to help succeed, people who we need to be influential for. We need to open up doors for them. We need to speak on their behalf. And so these people are so important. And so why texting can be such an incredible tool for a leader is that it can keep you connected to that circle. Now, each circle you should be texting, calling, emailing, sending a handwritten card a certain amount of times a year. You cannot stay connected to everybody all the time. You just can't. But by knowing the right amount to text, it can be something powerful. And so here's the reality. Some leaders, we just text way too much. We utilize we just rely on texting way too much when we should be meeting face to face with somebody. We should be calling them. What's the harm? Like, ask yourself, what's the harm? I know for some of us, we don't like to call people, right? We don't want to get on the phone with people. We don't want to sit down face to face. Like, we don't. But the reality is we need to. We were created. I just was doing some research today because I was writing part of the book, and that face-to-face interaction actually helps relieve stress in your life. Like, it's just an amazing process that happens. And so many of us text too much because We don't want to be forgotten. Maybe we we don't think we're valued or worthy enough in their eyes. We make sure they remember us. Some of us, we just have way too much desire for control, right? We're micromanagers. We want to make sure that they know everything, and we want them to respond right away. Some of us, we misunderstand urgency. And so we're just texting. Sometimes over texting can lead to disengagement. You know, years ago, I think that was me. I led a team, a great team, and I can remember texting so much with one of my team members that night that they finally got to a place where they're like, I got to put my phone down. This is just way overwhelming. And so, uh, I got way out of there, way out of there. Leaders then text too little, right? Like sometimes leaders, we don't text as much as we should because we have a fear of annoying people. We lack the confidence, or we don't value the message we want to send, or we don't realize how under communicating can lead to disconnection and missed opportunities. So we've got to find that balance, and so it's amazing. Now, yeah, probably like yourself, sometimes I text with people who have not picked up an iPhone and they're on Android, and it is a real pain, right? A real pain to text them because you got to deal with the green bubble and all of that kind of stuff. But regardless, uh, here are some signs you're maybe texting somebody too much, okay? They consistently delay or avoid responding to you, like consistently. How do I know? Like maybe I'm texting too much, or maybe I'm not quite at that relationship level where I could be texting as much as I am, right? Maybe you just met somebody and you just start texting all the time. Okay. If they're delaying or they're not responding, you're probably texting too much. If they consistently just respond in short one word replies, probably texting too much. If there are a ton of unread messages just piling up, probably texting too much, right? You don't want to be that leader who's over texting. So let's get to the sweet spot, right? When you text with intention. Text with intention. Like if you want to get to that place where your texting strengthens relationships, improves communication, positions you as a thoughtful leader, you don't want to be too intrusive. You don't want to be annoying. Well, text them with intention. Every message should have a clear purpose. Every text message. Think through your questions. If you're sending a funny meme, think it through. Like think it through. You're a leader. Text text in a way that builds your influence with them. Also, respect their personal boundaries. If your colleagues have all set up a thing together that says, "Hey, we're not going to text each other after 9," or "We're not going to text each other after the office," then okay, maybe it's just about work related issues. Maybe we're not going to text ourselves about work related issues. Well, respect that, okay? Unless it's urgent. How else do you find that sweet spot? Vary your communication. Like, don't rely on just texting alone. Email, call them, wait for the in person conversation. How else? You want to keep it concise, be value driven with your texts. The fewer the words, the better. I used to be a book writer, right? I would just write a book and I would overshare. Then I was realizing, wait a minute, people aren't oversharing with me. Why am I the only one that's always oversharing? Well, don't overshare. Fewer the words, the better. Get to the point quickly. And then time your messages. Follow up appropriately, but give breathing room. Listen, you do not want to be the person that somebody picks up the phone and they see your text and they're like, uh, you don't want to be that person. You want to do absolutely everything you can to be able to give them the information that they need, but do it in a way that they're excited to text with you so they don't have to look at their phone. So, here's some best practices, right? And we talked about this a little bit in episode 1, We're going to talk about it more throughout, but look for ways that you can encourage them. Uh, maybe you saw something on Facebook. Well, cut and copy it, send it to them. Maybe you saw an article, cut and copy it. Maybe it's a podcast that you listen to that's absolutely incredible. Send it to them. Use for those kind of ways. Um, man, here's the big one. Okay, here's something that's just, oh goodness, don't ever share bad news or bad feedback over a text. Okay, don't do it over a text. If they're really pushing you, I would even say, hey, I'd rather not share this over a text. But if they give you the go ahead, okay. But I would always, if it's bad news, if it's something horrible, if it's bad feedback, I would do it in person or on a call. Do it absolutely either of those two ways. It's most important, especially as a boss, right? If you're a boss and you have a team under you, do not text things like that could be open-ended, that could leave people like in doubt. Hey, I need to talk to you. Um, wow, okay, your mind's going to start spinning, right? Don't don't say those type of things. If you do need to talk to them, say, "Hey, are you able to take a call right now? Can we schedule a call to talk later today? Is your afternoon clear?" Do it a little bit more fuller than, "I got to talk to you. I got a problem, we got to talk." You know, um, those are just things that can mess up your relationship. When you do follow up, say things like, "Hey, I'm just checking in. How are things going? What are things that you need?" Uh, I know we'll cover this as we get further into this series, because I want this series to just kind of be short podcast episodes that get right to it to help you become a better texter as a leader right away. But one of the best things you can do, especially as a leader when it comes to texting, is if you did find out about something. And sometimes we feel weird about, maybe we found out some news on Facebook. We'll send them a text about it. Hey, I saw your post. I wanted to congratulate you. Hey, I saw your post. I'm grieving with you. If you need anything, let me know. But this is so important to find balance. And I know for some of us, like, we are on these devices all of the time. And so, we've got to we got to make sure that people are ready for us, that people know exactly, you know, they can text us and how we're going to text them back. And so find that balance. You know, I we gotta craft those text messages in a way that people want to read them. And so in the series, we're breaking down how to text in a way that is healthy, how to text in a way that is effective. And so let me leave you with this. When it comes to your family members are going to be the easiest ones to be demeaning. They're going to be the easiest ones to be destructive. You could be very destructive over your text messages. I know a lot of spouses that have texted back and forth with the most horrific, horrible things when they should just be in a room together and have the conversation. And so do absolutely everything you can to avoid those type of texting conversations and have a conversation face to face if you need to that way. But is so incredibly important. Your tone in your text sets how it's going to move forward. So look for ways to be encouraging, look for ways to respond in a not, to like the next second, but look for ways to respond in a relatively soon manner, and then look for ways to not let their minds wander with all the crazy assumptions they could be making. And so do everything you possibly can. Hey, I would love for you on social media. We're going to be talking about this in the speakers group on Facebook. That's where we send all of our leaders to go share what you're thinking about this. Share like a specific way that maybe you failed. Would love it. So when you see me ask that question, please get ready for the way that you fail the most when it comes with your texting, and then share one of the things that you're going to do to absolutely improve your texting. And like I said last time, I'm going to keep talking about compassion because you matter to me as our listeners for the Speak with People community. Every single week, hundreds of you tune in to listen, and I can't thank you enough. And so I dream of the day where we have thousands of people tuning in every single week. We want to provide content and value to you that is helpful for your leadership. But I want to let you know the difference that compassion has made in my life and my family's life. Compassion is a very simple way for you as a leader to end poverty for a child in another part of the world. Let me say that again. You can end poverty. So if you don't need anything else other than that, just go to compassion.com, watch their video of how they end poverty. Because for the last 15 years or so, my family has sponsored children. 2 of them have aged out and now are adults, and we get to celebrate with them. Lastly, still room to join us in the speakers community. Would love for you to be a part of our monthly training calls, be a part of our community, be in our competitions. Just an absolutely incredible place. All right. I hope you're texting with people. I hope you're doing everything you possibly can to find the sweet spot so you're not texting too much, but you're just texting enough. Be encouraging. Choose to be the bigger person and text with people, not at them. We'll see you in the next episode. Thank you for listening to the Speak with People podcast, where we believe that healthy communication key to unlocking your leadership potential. Thank you for leaving a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. And thank you for every like and every comment. Every single time you cut and copy a link and send it to a coworker or a friend, it absolutely means the world, and it helps each other transform our communication skills. Lastly, don't forget about a great resource that's available to you: our communication skills library. At the end of every episode, we ask each guest their favorite speaker, their favorite podcast, their favorite book, and we've compiled all of those resources together to give you an amazing library to continue your growth and development. Thank you again for being a listener and for being a part of the Speak with People community.